Hello again, design class. Mr. Nelson here with the bridge project. You can see behind me on this side or that side, that I've got other projects going on back there. That's our construction project. But we're going to focus on our bridge project today. So the last video that I showed you, we had cut some 12-inch pieces, some 5-inch pieces, some 6-inch pieces, and I started to put some of them together. I'm going to flip it down and sort of show you where I got to, and for me, what I think is the next step, and sort of give you some ideas to think about for your next steps, where you're going to go. So I'm going to flip the camera down, but again, I do have my safety glasses on. Make sure you're being safe as you're doing this project. And I also want to stress, make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself at the end of the project, clearing everything away or putting everything away that you can, try to be as neat as possible, particularly if you're doing this in sort of a public area of where you live. Okay, all right, I'm gonna flip the camera down. There we go. Okay, so this is where I ended up. I ended up with these two pieces coming across here like this. I put the top 6-inch piece here. These are the 5-inch pieces. These are the 12-inch pieces. And as you can see, it's not an optical illusion. These aren't perfectly straight. And I don't know, maybe yours will be perfectly straight. Mine didn't end up perfectly straight. And that came because of my cuts. Again, I promise I was just using this saw the whole time. I was able to get it straight on the board, but sometimes it went at a little bit of an angle, and so that's why it came off a little bit sideways. But still, I don't know if you can see this. I'll hold my tape this way. Maybe you can see this, but still, this is from there to there, just about 29 inches. So I think I miscalculated. This was supposed to be 6 inches in between there, but since it's sitting on top, it's actually only 5 inches in between there. So I should have made those an extra inch long, okay? All right, I'm learning. I'm not saying I'm an expert at this. This is the first time I've built a bridge by hand like this. So I'm learning just like you guys are. And I showed you my other mistake that I did earlier. And the reason I point this out is because, hey, you may make a mistake too, but it's going to be okay. Just make sure you can recover from it. If it's 29 inches, it'll still sit on the pier blocks by an extra by 2.5 inches. So I'll be fine that way on the cinder block. The next thing I did was I cut 4 pieces. I have 4 of these pieces at 4 inches. And I want to connect these two to start actually making the bridge. So I'm going to put one back here down at the very bottom, one back here at this side, one inside here, and one inside here. So basically spacing this apart, so then it is going to be 4 inches. Then I'm going to start working with some of my support pieces coming up here and in this area here to be able to support the bridge. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. So the first one, I'm going to take these off. Again, I'm going to be using my glue, my pencil here, I have my hammer here, I have my plans down here, altering a little bit from the plan. I don't know if you can tell, but this piece is supposed to go all the way down there, but I'm going to have this in the way. So that piece is actually going to dive into there. I'm going to have a 3-inch piece coming up there. So that's how that's going to work. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is, or actually I may just come straight up there. We'll discuss that. I may not even need that 3-inch piece in there, but we'll decide. First thing I gotta do is put my pieces on the ends here to get these spaced apart right, and then put the pieces in the center there. And I'm just gonna scoot these out of the way just for a minute to get going. I'll show you the first part that I'm gonna do. These two, well, those two aren't exactly the same. Let's see which ones I have that are closest in size. These two are pretty close. So I'm going to use these ones as my end pieces. And again, it's a whole lot easier if you start by pre-nailing them down as far as you can. Again, I'm using just the same hammer as you guys. I'm not doing anything different than what you're doing, not using any different tools, using the same tape measure. This isn't even my usual trusty tape measure either. Those of you that are familiar, I have the all orange one that I use all the time, but This I'm using same tape measure that you guys have. Just so you know that I'm not doing anything different. Same experience you are, same joys and frustrations. Okay, you know what? I got to be putting these in too, so I might as well pre-nail these. These ones are going to be back a little bit. I'm going to put the nails back a little bit on these ones. I'll show you why when I put them in place. And this one too, let's go that side. Okay, I got a little bit of a split out there. You know what? The glue is what's really going to hold that in place anyways. So now I've got these. Put my tape out of the way. I'm going to start with my two ends. So I'm going to start, which were the two, this one and this one were later on. So this one is one that I'm going to start with. So I'm going to start by putting a little glue on the bottom. Just about a drop. That's all you need. About a drop there. Get these spaced out correctly and put them on the end so they're flush. Okay. I'm just going to hold that firm and nail it down. Now, I specifically gave you 1¼ inch nails so that they don't pop through on the bottom. So just make sure your nail's not coming through on the bottom. I'm going to flip this around because it's easier for me to nail with my right hand. Well, this one's a lot longer. So I'm going to push this forward a little bit. Same thing. Glue on the bottom. And scoot this down. Now, all right, that's looking all right. That's looking all right. A little twisty, but that's okay. Now I'm going to put my two other spacers on the inside here. Put one in there. I'm going to put the other over there. So I'm going to go ahead and again, same thing. This one, though, touches in the corner. So I'm going to go on both sides. And the same there and there on both sides. Push that one down. Hold with my thumb. Again, remember how I said that this one, these ones, I'm going to put on the outside, meaning further out this way. You see all why? Because I'm hammering here, that's sort of in the way, so I want the nail over a little bit. And do the same exact thing, just flip it around. Come over here. How's that going to fit? All right? Yeah, it's all right. Okay, this isn't perfectly square. We're not cutting this out again on a table saw or any other saws like that. This is all done by hand, just like yours is going to be. So there we go. So that is the start of my bridge. We're looking actually pretty good right there. Now I just sort of have to start coming up here with some support pieces and then get some support pieces on the inside. Now, this area here, remember, I still have to make sure that I'm coming up 3 inches. What's my height inside there right now is about 5½ inches. So I have to make sure that I'm not coming below this by 2½ inches. So that's going to be the trickiest part. I may even come in here with some nails to nail in here, or maybe come this way into some nails into these pieces, just to lock those in place a little bit more. So that's sort of the next step for your, well, that was the next step for my project. So see what the next step is for your project.